Hey guys, I'm back in the garage coming at you with another review. Today we're talking about Freedom Strength Company Husafell sandbags. So who is Freedom Strength? They are a small company that's offering a very premium line of strongman style sandbags. That's going to include your traditional like pancake round style sandbags, these Husafell bags, they got some throw bags, and then they have some other odds and ends that they sell on the website. Today we're focusing on the Husafell bag, but I am really looking forward to working with Freedom Strength in the future, both at the Throwdown at Home Gym Con coming up in April of 2024, as well as on other bags on this channel. Following my typical format, I'm going to describe what this is. I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. I'm going to tell you about the construction, the quality of the materials. I'm going to tell you about my experience and whether or not I think it belongs in your home gym. So first off, what we got is another take on a strongman sandbag. The difference is that this one is based off of the classic strongman stone carry, the Husafell stone. Now the Husafell stone is not shaped exactly like this, but commonly in the sport of strongman, you will see a Husafell carry, and that carry will usually be some sort of steel implement. However, there are problems. One, in competing, if you have a big steel implement and you're running like 50 athletes through, you might have an issue where, I don't know, dropping that big steel heavy object onto a concrete floor could cause all sorts of issues with the convention center or wherever you might be holding that competition. Additionally, in training, they can be kind of expensive, kind of big to store, and really you're kind of limited on what you can do with it because essentially all that you can do is carry it. Now, there's been other variations of different Husafells. For instance, High Temp made an all-rubber shot-loadable version, which is actually a really cool version. But what I really appreciate is this sandbag version that is offered by Freedom Strength. Now, in the US, there is one other company that is currently selling a Husafell-style sandbag, and that's Rogue Fitness. However, where these differ is in a lot of the rounding of the edges, where this has more of a squared edge, the Rogue version has more of a rounded edge. Additionally, the flap on this one is actually bigger as far as where you fill the sandbag from the top. The most important difference, in my opinion, between the Rogue bags and the Freedom Strength bags is the fact that this one is available in 50-pound increments from 100 to 300. That means you can get it in a 100, 150, 200, 250, or 300, or you can buy it as the complete set. Now, I was sent the 200-pound version. I requested the 200-pound version because it's my body weight, and I find that I like to train carries at my body weight or greater. So I requested the 200-pounder. It came in, and it filled up really nicely. So this fills out to exactly 200 pounds. Now, what's cool about that is this thing was designed to such a degree that it actually stands upright with 200 pounds in it. And the reason I know it does is because when I threw 4 50-pound sandbags from Quikrete in there, what I actually found was that the sand was a little bit underloaded. It was only to 175 pounds, and as a result, I was getting a lot of like the bag kind of drooping over, and it was kind of floppy. If you've carried sandbags before, you know that makes it kind of difficult to carry, but when I weighed it and I got the difference in sand and added it to it, it stood it up really nicely, and you can even see as I move it around that it remains fairly upright. Now, it is a sandbag, so you're gonna get some bends and little things as you carry it around, but you can see that overall it stands up really nicely and it maintains that nice shape. It has this kind of tucked seam on one side as well as the outward seam on the other side. It's a double bag style of construction. So a bag within a bag, and one thing that's unique and allows it to keep this shape versus expanding out into kind of like a cyclone bag is that it has cargo straps essentially, or like seatbelt style straps that go in between the inner bag on either side. And what that does is it allows the bag to expand, but only by so much. And that's how we get that Husafell classic shape. So the big things that people look for in sandbags is going to be, one, the durability. It's got to be durable because these sandbags are going to be carried usually for about 50 feet in competition, or even sometimes longer. In the case of a Husafell, you might carry it for hundreds of feet and then you're just going to drop it. You're not going to set it down. You're not going to like quietly set it down, especially since it's a sandbag. You're just going to throw that thing on the ground. So I was really abusive to this thing, and I really did go into it with the intent of not necessarily abusing it, but I wanted to make sure that I gave it a thorough test to make sure that it met my standards so that I could tell you guys that it is a durable sandbag. And what I gotta say is that I've dropped it on blacktop, I've dropped it on sidewalk, and my sidewalks that I have in my neighborhood are actually pretty darn aggressive. I know because when my kids fall on them, it always tears them up, worse than other ones. So this thing has stood up super nice. All the stitching going all the way around is all double, triple stitched. It's all super incredible, durable box stitching. That sounds really stupid there. But all that to say that it's super well put together. So if we take a quick look here at the seams, where you would expect a bag like this to come apart is going to be right here at this bottom seam. And although you can see that the seam is definitely expanded, like it's actually nice and tight in that seam, nothing is actually torn. Additionally, on the bottom of the bag, which is going to withstand the majority of the abuse from dropping it, because you got to keep in mind, you pick this thing up like a shield, you carry it as far as you can, you drop it on the ground. That's just how it works. So if there was going to be abuse from the friction of this thing hitting the ground, it's going to be on this bottom. And I really got to give Freedom Strength tons of credit here. The material that their manufacturer uses is incredibly durable. That material is a 1050D Cordura material. And again, it's on the inside, it's on the outside. I pulled this thing completely out from inside, basically inside out. That's out from inside. So I pulled this thing completely inside out when I first got it, and it is such stiff and durable material that it was actually kind of a pain in the butt to shove back in, but it fills up pretty nicely. Now on that, this does fill up a little bit different than a normal sandbag does. Because it has all of those straps that go through the middle of the bag that help it maintain that Husafell shape, we're gonna have some issues when it comes to filling. What I'd recommend that you do is basically as you fill the bag is just to reach in with your hand, and you're gonna get a little sandy, but if you've ever filled sandbags before, you know that that's just a part of the game. Get in there and actually move the sand around and pack it, because what I found that tends to happen, and there's really no way to avoid this because of the sandbag design, is that some of the sand will get caught on a layer, and so underneath each one of those straps, you'll have a small little pocket. Again, it takes like less than 1 gram of effort to actually get it to fill up the right way. But it is something to note that as you're filling this up, or if you're someone who already has this bag and you didn't get the prescribed weight into it, it might be because you have some cavities. Additionally, once you close it up, I'd recommend kind of throwing it down, moving it around, picking it back up, and seeing how well it maintains its shape. It might be a case where a 200-pound bag might need a little bit of extra, or you might find that if you want it to weigh 200 pounds, that a mixture of maybe rubber pellets and sand is the right way to go in order to get the bag to be stiff and upright at the prescribed weight. Now on that closure, it is a funnel style enclosure that is double Velcroed, and it also has a super heavy duty YKK zipper up at the top. Now the last thing I want to talk about is the price tag. So for a 100-pound bag, we're talking about a $100 purchase. For a 150, we're talking 110, 200 is 120, 250, 130, and 300 pounds is 140. That is a really good way, especially if you get the full set, you get a little bit of a price break and you take home the whole set for $510. Now, do all home gyms need a full set of Husafell sandbags? If I had a bigger gym, I'd tell you yes, but you probably don't need a full set. What I'd recommend doing is, if you are familiar with training with a Husafell carry, or just you want to get into sandbag carries in general, it'd be to start either like your body weight minus to the nearest 50-pound increment, or if you want to challenge yourself, go up a little bit. I walk around at about 210 pounds, so for me, the 200-pound sandbag was where it's at. The reason that you can get a 200-pound sandbag is because of how narrow the bag is. When you carry the Husafell, you're actually able to hug it into your chest and get it more in line with the center of gravity of your body. And that's the big way that the Husafell differentiates itself from other strongman sandbags on the market. With those big round ones, sure, you can still get it to within that center of gravity, but you're having to do that by leaning all the way back, and it's just a little bit uncomfortable. But that's been it for this review. This is the Freedom Strength Company Husafell sandbag. It is an amazing piece of equipment. It's double bag, Cordura, heavy duty material, the YKK zippers, bag within a bag, funnel style filling design, provides an amazing training piece, especially if you want to get into that functional fitness carries type of environment. I'm really looking forward to a lot of the other stuff that Freedom Strength Company brings to the market. And if you're with me, go ahead and leave a comment down below. What's your favorite product from Freedom Strength Company? Thank you to everybody that watches these videos every week. And remember, when it comes to your training and your home gym, you should always keep it better, awesome, and of course, badass. I'll see you next time.